I guess.
That's 200-mile-an-hour tape that's only good for 100 miles an hour.
Well, he gets back up to speed, it appears. Now look at Bill Elliott in car number 9, and the 17 of Darrell Waltrip. Bobby Hillen right there in the 8 car, and the 42 of Kyle Petty.
Of course, Hillen 1 lap down, being shown in the 13th position. Kyle Petty is 2 laps down, being shown in 15th position.
And Alan Kulwicki in car number 7 is also 2 laps down. There is Jeff Bodine in number 11, who is beginning to come back. He had, of course, some problems after that crash. And Dick Berggren, perhaps you can tell us exactly what those problems were.
The primary problem, Bob Jenkins, was the oil tank in the back of the car. You keep the engine oil in an aluminum tank near the left rear tire. That tank was fractured. Well, maybe Jerry Punch ought to be doing this piece, because, boy, it sure was some surgery. They stuffed that thing full of rags and vice grips, and they clamped it, and they glued it. Now it's not leaking, they hope. Tim Brewer says their biggest problem is going to be weeding their way through all this traffic and getting back up front. Now, the guy who started beside him on the front row today, Mark Martin, was also involved. His problems were far less severe. He just suffered a ding right rear corner. Both of those cars should be okay and should be able to win their way back to the front and back into competition for the win.
All right, well, Jeff Bodine has picked up 1 position, passing Mark Martin, so Jeff is now 9th. Dale Earnhardt continues to lead Morgan Shepherd. There they are, 1st and 2nd. And Morgan looks to the inside. Will he mount a challenge? Well, let's go down to Jerry Punch for a comment on Dale Earnhardt.
I am told in the Earnhardt pits they've done everything they know to try to tighten up that Goodwrench Chevrolet here at Darlington, but it will not work. The car just gets looser and looser and looser with every successive lap. Earnhardt is a great driver with a loose race car, but he may have his hands full right now with Morgan Shepherd right on his rear deck.
Boy, he is. He is really putting the pressure on Dale Earnhardt. And there is Davey Allison, the 3rd car there in line. Allison is 1 lap down, however, after running with the leaders for many laps. Davey Allison is now shown in 12th position, 1 lap down. We are live at Darlington International Raceway in South Carolina for the Transouth 500. We're on lap 239 with Dale Earnhardt from Kannapolis, North Carolina, leading over Morgan Shepherd in car number 15. In 3rd position is the number 26 car of Brett Bodine. 4th is Harry Gant, and in 5th position is the 66 of Dick Trickle.
Morgan Shepherd just a couple of laps goes right on the bumper of Dale Earnhardt. He went down in turn 1, got up and almost got in the wall. He might have just brushed the wall. I think he's kind of backed off, said, I think I'll let Earnhardt's car get a little bit worse before I try to pass him again.
Meanwhile, as we watch those cars that have dropped out of the race, Davey Allison seems to be hanging right with these guys, and if he could get his lap back, he could again be a contender.
Yes, he could. He has come from 1 lap down already, and then he brushed the wall, got another lap down, and is in position there perhaps to get that lap back if he can just move around those 2 cars.
And again, a lot of these cars that have dropped out of the race, a result of that accident out of turn number 4. Now we'll take a look at those who are behind the wall, but not necessarily out of the race. Neil Bonnet, once again, is being checked over at a local hospital for a possible concussion. He was knocked unconscious during that accident up in turn number 4. So he is taken to the hospital for precautionary measures. Earnhardt leading Morgan Shepherd by 3 or 4 car lengths as Davey Allison, 3rd in line there, shown in 11th spot, 1 lap down.
Brett Bodine still running 3rd, Harry Gant 4th, and Dick Trickle 5th.
Bill Elliott is running in 6th. 7th is Ken Schrader. 8th, Darrell Waltrip. 9th is Mark Martin. And 10th is Jeff Bodine.
And Davey Allison, the 1st car, a lap down. Bobby Hillen, Michael Waltrip, and Richard Petty also a lap down. And 2 laps down is Kyle Petty, Alan Kulwicki, and Mike Alexander in Bobby Allison's car. 3 laps down, Terry Labonte, Chad Little, the 98 car of Butch Miller. Rob Moroso that's the cars that's 3 laps down.
And we'll show you how they're running on the racetrack in our field summary, as the leader is Dale Earnhardt in car number 3. It has been basically a battle between him and Jeff Bodine so far in this race, and at the moment, Dale Earnhardt escaped that crash up in turn number 4 and he is looking pretty good at the moment. Morgan Shepherd, who finished second at Atlanta a couple of weekends ago, is chasing Dale Earnhardt. Right behind Morgan Shepherd is Davey Allison, who has battled back from a couple of misfortunes this afternoon to find himself in 11th position, one lap down on the field. Then comes the number 26 car, driven by Brett Bodine. And boy, you just can't say enough about the performance that this guy has turned in so far today in the Quaker State Buick, owned by Kenny Bernstein. By far, the best run that they have had all year. And you can see there his Darlington finishes, 14th and 6th. Brett Bodine from Chemung, New York, currently running in third position. Fourth is Harry Gant, the defending champion of the Transouth 500, who himself has not been up among the contenders today, but he has always been on the lead lap, and I don't think you can count him out before this day is over. And following him, Dick Trickle, who last year won the Winston Cup Rookie of the Year award.
The next car behind Dick Trickle is Bill Elliott, the Coors Motorcraft Ford. Bill this year had a miserable year. He's got things going a little bit better today than he has previously in the year. Michael Waltrip, the next car, the Country Time Maxwell House Pontiac, followed by his older brother, Darrell Waltrip, in the Tide Chevrolet. Going down the front straightaway.
Michael has gone a lap down, being shown in 13th place. Here's Darrell Waltrip in the Tide Chevrolet, car number 17, being shown right now in the 8th position. Then Mark Martin in Folgers Ford, he's running in 9th position.
Meanwhile, let's go back up front just for the moment, as look at this, they're going to go three abreast into one. Well, they go two abreast. Well, Dale Earnhardt decides that you can have the lead, Morgan Shepherd, and Shepherd does lead this trio into the first and second corners, and we have a new leader, Morgan Shepherd.
It's pretty exciting stuff there, wasn't it, Bob? I'm glad we got back there.
We had to break away from our field summary there, but we showed you the pass for the lead, and we'll replay it from turn number 4 down the straightaway.
Earnhardt got out a little bit wide and got the car a little bit out of shape, which gave Morgan Shepherd the opportunity to get on the inside. Davey thought about going three abreast. He said, no, I've hit the wall once already today. Let me just fall back here and see what happens.
Smart thinking.
Morgan Shepherd in the Motorcraft Ford has the lead. Dale Earnhardt now is in second position. Now we will resume our field summary. We told you about Darrell Waltrip. Here's the number 6 car, driven by Mark Martin, currently shown in the 9th position. Mark Martin in car number 6. And behind him would be the 42 car, driven by Kyle Petty, and he is currently shown 15th, 2 laps down.
Then comes Ken Schrader in the Kodak Chevrolet. We saw him just a moment ago spin with Ernie Irvin, get by almost unscathed. Right behind Ken Schrader, the 7 car of Alan Kawicki, the Xerox Ford. Alan spun earlier when Kyle and Dale Earnhardt got together. And we can see Alan hasn't had too much to cheer about this year either. The 11 car, Jeff Bodine, the Budweiser Ford, who dominated this race earlier on, involved in that accident.
And he is the last car on the lead lap, currently running in the 10th position. The next car is Bobby Hillen in the Snickers Buick, number 8. Bobby is in 12th position, 1 lap down, having a good run here today. And then comes the king, Richard Petty, 7-time NASCAR Winston Cup champion. He's only 1 lap down, running in he should be running in 13th position. I believe they're showing 14th, but he's moved up a couple of positions.
And then comes Terry Labonte, who had a lot of smoke pouring from that race car a few laps ago, but they've apparently made corrections, and Terry Labonte now finds himself 18th, 3 laps down.
There comes Mike Alexander and Bobby Allison's Ray Bestie's Buick. We can see Mike off to a poor start. All the cars this year, there's no one except Earnhardt and Jeff Bodine who's had anything to brag about all year, just all trying to get it together.
And of course, Morgan Shepherd has it pretty well together also.
Yeah, excuse me. There's Chad Little, the Bullseye Barbecue Sauce Ford. Chad running a limited schedule this year. This is one of the 15 or 18 races he will run. Here's a guy, Rusty Wallace, the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac. We haven't talked too much about Rusty today, but he was involved in that accident earlier with Kyle Petty, banged up the right front, knocked the front end out of alignment. He's had a day just simply, we see him with no hood on the automobile. He's trying to finish the race, get as many Winston Cup points as he can.
He was third in Winston Cup points going into this race, 97 behind.